It's the Russ Parr Morning Show. On the phone line right now, Vice President Joe Biden. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Russ, how are you? Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor to be able to talk to you, so I'm excited. There's so much going on. What used to be normal is now abnormal. What used to be accepted. We need somebody that's going to go in day one and reverse all this stuff that's going on, the damage that the president that we have has done. Are you up for that task?
I think I am. I've spent my whole life working this, and this is kind of in my wheelhouse. There's two things this man is doing. He's kind of ripping the soul out of this country. The way he plays on prejudice and tries to, the things he says about people of color and immigrants, and the way he talks about, he makes fun of people with disabilities. I mean, this is not who we are. And the message being sent around the world, Russ, is debilitating for us. We've always led the world by the example, our example, not our power, and it's just being clobbered.
When you get on that debate stage after you win the nomination, because that's your goal, and Donald Trump starts to attack you and starts to insult you and going after your family members, can you handle that? Is your response to attack back or talk policy?
My response is twofold. Attack back on him. I'm going to leave his children alone and his family alone. I wasn't raised that way. Mm-hmm. They are a reflection of their father. The fact of the matter is, this is the most corrupt president in modern American history, if not all of history. As I've said to him before, when he says, he cares about corruption, I said, Mr. President, I released 21 years of my tax returns, including the last several years I've been out of office. What are you hiding, pal? Release your tax returns or shut up.
I like that.
Shut up.
I like that. And Mr. Vice President,
I really mean it. Oh,
I know you do. The other night on 60 Minutes, I was so excited because I like that kind of fight. And I think,
I have no reluctance to take that. Look, I'm used to bullies.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to stutter to talk a lot like that, and I learned to fight. I learned about bullies. Bullies are at their core cowards. They're afraid.
Absolutely.
At the core. You know it. When I worked in East Side in this town, over in the projects, I watched my friends. I was the only white employee over there. I watched how they were treated. I watched how they, in fact, had to fight back. I watched. Mm-hmm. I'm not equating my stuttering and coming from a modest background with the guys I worked with.
The hypocrisy of this president, and I know we can talk about him, but I want to talk about some tabletop issues in just 1 second.
Sure.
But to compare your child, Hunter, to what his kids are doing and still doing is the ultimate of hypocrisy, and it just blows me away. You got Jared Kushner that goes on TV and says, well, Mr. Biden shouldn't say that he doesn't want his kids in his administration because I'm up here cleaning up his mess. See, this is the ultimate of hypocrisy. He says he's cleaning up your mess.
That this administration, I won't use the phrase we used in my neighborhood, is even a patch on the genes of Barack Obama. What have they cleaned up? All they have done, just like everything else this president has inherited. He inherited a thriving economy from us. And like everything else he's inherited, he is squandering it. And the way, think about what this fella has done.
Yes.
My Lord.
Oh, we could go on and on about that.
He has zero interest in dealing with HBCUs and dealing with folks that are struggling to get to school. He has no interest in making Title I schools better. He has there's zero. He does the exact opposite. And look what he's doing in the environment, particularly in areas where the folks I grew up with are the ones that live in the areas that are polluted, where the water isn't good, where, in fact, the soot comes down. This guy, I shouldn't get going. I apologize.
No, it's okay, because, one of the things I wanted to say is that, and I'm not your advisor, but I'm a voter. I'm somebody that's very passionate about politics. And I think that if you go down that rat hole with him and it gets into name calling and so on and so forth,
I'm not going there.
Because if I see Vice President Biden up on that debate stage, let him call you names. Hit us with tabletop issues like childcare, like health care, things that really matter. Not the fact that Shifty Schiff has a pencil neck and Nervous Nancy and Slow Joe, and that stuff means nothing to us. They
don't mean anything to me either. And if you notice, there's so many names he could be called. I've resisted it all. What he's doing is he's ripped the soul out of this country. This is not who we are.
No,
we are not this mean-spirited people.
Are you opposed to some of the progressive ideas? Are you willing to open up your playbook and take in some of the good from that? Because that's how you're going to bring the whole party together. I don't think, and I could be wrong, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, they're really, really far left. And I know it's going to be very difficult for the party to accept all of their ideology. Are you willing to accept some of it that works?
Well, look, the one thing we're all in agreement on is what we have to do to improve healthcare. We have to deal with education. Look, this is the first time I've ever run that I've been labeled a moderate. I mean, the way they run against me all the time, including last time as vice president, talking about it, is I'm this liberal. I come out of the civil rights movement. That's sort of my base. Right. And what I'm talking about are things that matter to people's lives. I think everyone should have health care. I think it's a right. I think there's a much easier and quicker way to do it. It's not just because of cost. It's because it is better. We just take Obamacare, add a Medicare option, make sure every single person is eligible, reduce the cost for those who want to buy in, let people keep their insurance if they like it, etc. In addition to that, education. My plans they're within reach. I'm talking about spending $70 billion for HBCUs, putting everybody in community college for free, making sure that anybody who's eligible can get there, making sure that we triple the money we spend on Title I programs for at-risk students. There's nothing in the past that's been conservative about that. But
we're talking to Vice President Joe Biden. He's on the phone line right now. Mr. Vice President, with this move that the president made in Syria, the whole world is looking at us. They don't respect us. They're laughing at us. They don't trust us. How do you correct that?
Well, look, I'm going to say something that is uncomfortably self-serving.
Okay.
I'm the only one that's operated on the world stage for the last 25 years. I know every single world leader in the last 40 years. I've met vast majority of them personally. We need someone the day they get elected that can stand up and command the world stage, and our enemies know that they're real and what he says he means, and he can follow through on them, and our friends know that they can count on the word of this president. That's nice. The thing that I have more experience in than the entire rest of the field combined and doubled.
Yeah.
It's things that I have done my whole career, bringing people together. The idea that we're going to be safe if we cannot once again establish our word is our bond and it can be counted on. The idea we're going to be safe if we continue to weaken our alliances. How do we deal with stateless terrorism throughout the rest of this century, or at least the next 10 years, if we don't have allies that, in fact, can join with us? I'm used to putting together groups of literally 40, 50, 60 nations to agree on how to approach the way we deal with terror. So this is as they say, where I come from, this is in my wheelhouse. This is what I've done my whole life. This is what I did. One of the reasons Barack picked me to be his vice president. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the commander-in-chief test is one that, look, let me put it another way. There's going to be no time for on-the-job training, Russ, for the next president of the United States.
And that's what we're doing, and we're tired of this clown show. We are devastated as a people to turn our back on the Kurds like we did. We can sit here and talk for 3 hours about all the damage. Anything that has President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden's name on it, this man feels, I got to take this name off of it. You know,
exactly right.
He could have put Obamacare out there and called it Trump Care and put out the same thing, and everybody would have loved it. One thing that he's good at, and this absolutely will be the last statement, the one thing that President Trump is good at is marketing hate. And if you can figure out a way not to fall into that trap and market positivity, we're going to be okay, because people want you. Everybody looks at you as the only person that can beat him. And I think that those independents aren't coming back that voted for him. Those fringe Democrats that voted for him because they wanted something different, they're not coming back. Women are not coming back. African Americans are not coming back. Oh, I'm sorry, just Kanye West. But but that's it.
Let me make one closing comment for
Yes,
you, Russ. I am more optimistic about America's chances in the 21st century than ever been in my entire life, even when I got elected as a 29-year-old kid. We've got to get Trump out of the way. But here we are. We have the most powerful nation in the world. We're the wealthiest nation in the world. Our workers are 3 times as productive as workers are in Asia. We're in a situation where we have more great research universities here than all the rest of the world combined. Every major change has come out of it. We're on the verge of being able to deal with cancer and Alzheimer's and diabetes. There's so much we can do. I really believe it with all my heart, and that's why I think we have such an opportunity
Absolutely.
to put the nation in a position that it's never been in, and this time rebuild a middle class where everybody comes along. Everybody.
Everybody's going to figure this stuff out 10 years from now. In the meantime, fight the good fight, sir, and thank you for calling our show. We really appreciate it.
Well, I hope I can come back. Thanks a lot. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it,
Anytime.
Russ.
All right. Take care, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. I thought it was very significant when he said that he was a stutterer.
Right.
And that's why he fought. They used to make fun of him. So he said he's used to dealing with bullies. But that explains a lot of things to me, because I know people that have fought all their lives to be retrained to not stutter.
Shaq.
What happens is your brain, Bo Jackson. I mean, there's so many people.
Yeah.
What happens is that your brain is sharp, but your mouth can't keep up with the words.
Trying to get it out so fast.
And so now that explains, that's why they call him Gaff Joe, because he says things that his brain is already way ahead of his mouth. And I thought that was, and I could be wrong, y'all can correct me, but that to me right there, pointing out a flaw, that makes sense to me now.
Well, you can't equate that to being old now.
No.
You see.
No. And I know they won't make a big deal out of it, but and it's not really an excuse, but it is. It is. When you're struggling to find the words, that was interesting. But I appreciate having the vice president on.
Definitely.
All right, we'll be right back, y'all.